how did you then come up with Divine Mills? Because some of us, who were more, because as much because I'm more R&B, but Naughty were too big not to ignore. But it's the R&B side that really surprised me, because we would have naturally assumed that you would have, done like Eric Sherman, and get hip hop acts to follow you. But
right.
what made you just
Well,
switch? And
yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, and a lot of people, were shocked by that because, like you said, you would expect, coming from hip hop, you'd be like, okay, if you're gonna do anything, you're gonna probably introduce hip hop artists or groups, you know. Um, but once again, it goes back to, where how and what I grew up on. I grew up on a lot of the soul music, so that was embedded in me. I knew that. And I always had that in the back of my mind, in the back of my head, and almost basically in my back pocket. I just was like, I'm really a soul dude.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I'm really a soul dude. So, that's really, how I came up. I got into hip hop as I got a little older, but I grew up on soul music. So when it came time and an opportunity was presented to me, and I came across, R&B acts, I just was like, I'm gonna go this route. People gonna think I'm gonna expect me to go this route, but I'm gonna come out left field from with this route. It's gonna be hip hop influence, and it's gonna feel like hip hop, the backbone of hip hop, but it's gonna be R&B.
So you said when it was presented to you, because did you always have in your mind, and were you talking to people that I want to start a label, or what was it like then?
No, I mean, I just, when you out there, everybody as an artist, producer, or anything, you always get demos. You always get artists. You always get people come up to you or run up on you like, hey, you know what? I have a group, or I sing. I have a demo. Can you check it out? So I was always getting demos.
Okay.
Always getting stuff sent to me, and I would listen to it.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, like when even from the early days, the main thing, like I said, we were always self-contained. And that's why when we talked about earlier about it being in-house, that's why most of it was the in-house, because, I always took it, and carried on my back, like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on the production, and we've always, as three members, always talked about, then you focus on the merchandise. I'm going to focus on the production of the music, and Tretch, you also focus not only on the lyrics and making songs, but also on television and films. Yeah, we've always done that. So when it came to demos and stuff coming in, I would always listen to the stuff. And what really, really caught my eye, my eye and ear, was the R&B stuff.
Okay. So just before we get to Divine Meal, so as the three of you decided, we've got our group, but we'll have a company. Is that Illtown that we'll use as a way of venturing off other things that we would split in three ways?
Yeah. And it was all our companies, That's why at the beginning it was called Illtown Records, and Illtown Records was all three of us. That was owned by all three of us. Same with the merchandise, owned by all three of us. And then we had a television, Illtown Films, that was all three of us. So we had all of those different companies, and we had branches of stuff that our original plan was to build off and grow off.
Yeah. But then you decided to do Divine Mill outside of Illtown?
Yeah, well, that came later, because if you notice and you look back, I put out Rotten Rascals. That was that was on Illtown Records. But also, if you notice, Zhané, when I did Jhané's first album was on Illtown Records.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jhané was actually Illtown. That was the beginning. I didn't do Divine Mill until I actually left Naughty by Nature, the group. That's when I created and did Divine Mill. Like I said, Illtown was a Naughty by Nature, entity of all of us together.
Okay.
So when I left Naughty by Nature, for the little bit of time that I left, I created Divine Mill, and that's where Divine Mill came into play.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so if we go forward back a little bit, then who came up with found Jhané?
Huh?
Who discovered Jhané? Who out of was it one of the demos you listened to?
Yeah, it was one of the demos. Yeah, it was one of the demos that came into Flava Unit. It actually came into Flava Unit. Like I said, and I listened to everything. It was one of the demos that came into Flava Unit. And it was actually even after the demo and I listened to it, they would call and say, hey, I want to find out, I want to see if you guys gave it to KG or whatever. They would call Flava Unit.
Wow.
And yeah, Miss Owens. Yep, Miss Owens and a young lady named Lynn Scott was working at Flava Unit, and they would talk to him all the time, and they would tell him, I'm gonna make sure that Kay listens to your demo. I'm gonna make sure, and I'll follow up. And I would come in this, and I came in there one day, and Miss Owens and Lynn was like, hey Kay, the girls from one of the demos, Zhané, I mean, actually it wasn't even called Zhané at the time. Their group, the demo, Gene and Renee, they're calling and they want to know that you listen to their stuff. And I said, yeah, I did. And I said, I'm gonna listen to it again, and then and I'll let you know or whatever. So then the next time I came back, they told me again, Kay, they keep calling, have you listened to it? And I said, yeah, let me. And then I just started zoning in and focusing on it. Cause I was like, yo, they're persistent. They coming across how I was when I was starting off. So let me check this out. They must be real serious. So, and as I dug deeper into it, I was like, dang, they are serious. And then I reached back out to them, started bringing them, they were going to Temple down in Pennsylvania. They were at Temple University in Pennsylvania. Yeah, at the time. So I reached out to them. I started bringing them up to Jersey, and we just started working on that demo.
Wow. And now there were two females, and you think back in the 90s, most of the female groups were 3 or 4.
Right.
Were you concerned about the dynamics and how it might look? Because it was only changing faces afterwards.
Right. Nope. I wasn't concerned about it because I knew what I had as far as with them, especially once I met them, how dope they were. I knew what it is that, musically, what I was going to try to do and at least try to lean it towards. And then what they were doing and what they were bringing to the table and what we did together. I wasn't worried about nothing. I mean, a lot of people was just like, oh, what about the look of the group or what about this? I was like you said, like usually it's 3 people or more. I was just like, I don't care. We're going to make some bangers and we kicking the door, and that's it.
They were neo soul before neo soul was popular.
Exactly.
The hair, the whole look, it really just, I was like, and their voice, it was, because we had a lot of the sort of similar, TLC, SWV, all sounding alike, but they came really, they really captured us. Yeah.
We came totally different. We came totally different. And a lot of people, even say that to me, and I let them say it. They like, hey, they, Kedar and these guys took the neo soul brand and ran with it and claimed that they're the starters of it. But you and Jah-Nay are the originators of that sound.
Yeah.
I mean, because, it is what it is, but they took the moniker and did it. But definitely, as far as the sound and the way that approach, we definitely were the beginning of it. Definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I mean, Hey Mr. DJ was the big, massive track, but then they also had Send My Love. They had other tracks that would just really put you in the mood and stuff.
Sweet Taste of Love, All My Mind, like all kinds of records like that. They had that was the vibe, man. They had the vibe. I mean, dope.
Were they also writers as well?
Absolutely. They wrote everything.
Wow.
Yeah. They wrote everything. They wrote all of the lyrics. Both of them wrote all their lyrics. And and some of the music, a lot of it they did a lot of the music as well with me.
Wow. So when you're working with them and about to put out, is Flava Unit and Vinny and Tretch, are they involved in anything, or they just say do your thing?
They just say do your thing, and when it comes time, when it came time for me to present it, then I would go to Shakim and say, hey, I got this ready to go. Where can we put it at? Who can sign it? Who can we shop it to? How can we put it out?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Shakim will go to work and figure out how to get it out there.
Wow. And with the first single, was that Hey Mr. DJ?
Hey Mr. DJ. And that actually came off the Flava Unit compilation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were you surprised how big that also went? I mean,
No, I wasn't, because I knew how big it was going to be. And it wasn't actually going to even be on that compilation. It ended up being the last record on there. And that's why it's literally the last track on the soundtrack.
wow.
Like the whole soundtrack is rap. The whole Flava Unit crew, it was all rap. And I just was like, Sean, yo, you got to put this record on there. I'm telling you, man, this record, man, I'm telling you, put this record on there. He's like, yeah, but it's all rap. I don't care. I'm telling you, put this record on there. Okay. And he put it on there, and that was it.
Wow. What was the next? So when they were blowing up, what was on your mind as to who to bring out next?
I just going through demos, just figuring out I'll find something at some point. I still have to focus on Naughty. I still have to focus on doing another Zhané record. And once again, I mean, it's primarily just me. So I can't, spread myself too thin.
Yeah.
Couldn't spread myself too thin at the time. But, as we were going on, just going on, and I'm just listening to stuff, listening to demos until I finally came across all the stuff later. And then I started putting that together as well and developing.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.